Oh, no, he didn't.
Girl. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
What's up, Patreon? We hope y'all are doing wonderfully well. Hopefully, you have already listened to this week's podcast. But if you haven't, we want you to know this is where we start our Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's break. So, this is the final episode of 2022. And I think this is when we usually kind of give ourselves grades a little bit, right? We hadn't talked about that.
Sure
How are
do.
how are you grading
that on the
2020?
main episode?
Do we do that on the main episode?
We have done it on the main.
Or do we go back and grade it, like say, oh, I feel last year was that when we start the new season?
We do. I don't know. I think we do both, but we missed it. That's fine. That's what it is. What it is.
Anyway, that's why Patreon is special. Okay, so if I was giving myself a grade for 2022, I mean, despite recent events, I would give myself an A+. Recent events that will never be discussed. But I would give myself an A+.
Recent events. I'm trying to think of what recent events are never.
Girl, Magic City Classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I get a boyfriend every Magic City Classic. This year was no different, but somehow this year was different.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Outside of that, I would take points off of that, but I'm still.
She had 2 boyfriends, y'all.
I did have 2 boyfriends. And both of them, I would take points off my score usually, but because that was a blip, I'm gonna say 2022.
you grading on a curve now? We just gonna drop the lowest.
A+. 2022 A+. Magic City Classic never counts, so that's why it doesn't go towards the score. It's Magic City Classic. It doesn't actually count on your total score for the year.
Yeah.
A+ over here, guys.
Let's see what I'm gonna give myself for this year, because this year, I mean, it started off okay. It started off pretty good, and then it kind of took a bump around my birthday. That wasn't my fault. So yeah, I'm gonna give myself an A.
Okay, wait, let's go back. Are we grading based on what is our fault and not our fault? Because in that case, I would always only have A+ since nothing has ever been my fault. Okay,
no,
so
sometimes there are things that where we where I will witness something or view something, I'm like, let me stick around and see what, you know what I mean? Like, no, I ain't sticking around. That's cool. We good. Yeah, so that's
I'm giving myself an A+. I will explain my A+. I don't know how you get to an A. I will give myself.
Don't be hating on my
A because
don't be.
No, I'm gonna tell you why I'm taking points off your grade. No, because you tried to act like I was grading on the curve. Let me tell you why I'm gonna take actual points off your A. Okay, back to my A+. Back to my A+.
Talk about
I started the year strong. New Year's Eve, my ex tried to come back, and I shut that thing down like boom. So that was starting the year very strong. I said, I'm not taking this crap into 2022, and I did not, guys. I have not communicated with that man in 2022. Not for his lack of effort, and his effort that is lacking. 2022 saw me enjoy my peaceful companion. That's A+++ right there for 6 months, really strong. And the other reason I'm giving myself an A+ is because I had some epiphanies. I had some real deprogramming shifts mentally, and all those shifts mentally, not just in romantic spaces, really got me excited about what could possibly be next for me in a lot of different realms. And so I feel like I'm gonna close this year out strong and stronger than last year, but also more hopeful than last year. Also celebrated my 1 year of retirement from dating. I do plan to maintain that as well into 2020. I know it doesn't make for a whole lot of real interesting Patreon activity for me, but y'all will be all right.
That's your story.
Now let me tell you what I'm gonna take points off from you.
Why? Because it ain't gonna convince me.
I'm trying to remember your year. You said the year started strong and then you had a blip around your birthday. And so I'm trying to remember your year. And that's when we were dating the last guy?
Yes, that's when we were dating the last guy. Yes.
Okay. So this is why I'm gonna take points off.
Who cares about what she's taking off? Because it's still gonna be an A in my book, right?
A-. A- in my book. I'm not gonna take points off for it. What I was gonna take points off for it, but I'm not gonna take the points off because
tell me what you were.
Okay. No, because it's a live and learn situation. You did say I'm gonna see. I feel like we already knew the answer, and you said I'm gonna see, so I was gonna take points off for you having to see what I felt like we already knew.
No, but I had to see that.
No, I get that. That's why I said I'm gonna give you a little points back.
But it didn't hurt anything to see it through because now I know for a fact,
Well, yes and no. And no. Let me tell you why. Because I feel like everybody I dated, I had those exact same moments, but I wanted to go see, right?
Mhm.
And then when the answer that I already knew was the answer, I can now finally look back and say, hey, you be knowing, and that's okay. You don't have to go through stuff to
Right.
see when you know the answer. And I feel like we grow up into that. We learn that, right? You don't have to put your hand on a hot stove to know it's hot to see if it'll burn you. You can say, no, well, when I was younger, that's actually a true story. When I was younger, I used to always put my hand in the skillet when I would wake up. And one morning, my brother was heating up the skillet and I didn't know, and I stuck my hand in it, got a big blister. But anyway, then the question became, why do you stick your finger in the skillet every morning? Because I want to see if it's hot. This was the first time it was, okay? but that's true and indicative of my dating experience. I retired not because somebody broke my heart. It was just because I never really enjoyed it. And the things that I thought I knew, I would call you, I would call other people.
I was going to explain to them because they may be lost on what we're talking about. With the last guy I was dating seriously.
True.
Eunice and I had a conversation about the fact that our lifestyles were so different, and that I'm outgoing. I like to travel. I like to go out sometimes, not all the time.
Like to leave the house. You like to leave
the
house.
And he was very much not that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was clear. It was clear that that's who he was. He was unapologetic about it. That was just who he was. And so he never tried to present himself to be anything else. That's just who he was. So I knew that going into it. And so we had a conversation about, and she asked me, how is that going to work with your lifestyles being so different? And we were already a couple of months in at that point, and I had formed a bond to him. And so when she asked me, I said, I really don't know. We're going to have to see how this works. Turns out that was the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but that was a part of the issue that, led to us not talking again.
That was the biggest issue.
His insecurity was the biggest one. His insecurity.
Right, but that's because you left the house.
Right. But it was a byproduct of his insecurity. That was the problem. Had he not been so insecure about it, it might, that might not have ended the way it did. Who knows? But the fact but the insecurity was the source.
Because she said, I don't know how this is going to turn up and what turned out with the differences. And that's what I'm saying. Why I said I want to take points away is because you did know.
No, I didn't.
That's why you want a guy. No, but this is the thing. That's why when you're talking about your wish list or dream of the type guy that would be a great guy for you, he ain't a guy. You have never said, I want a guy that don't go nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a reason why.
But every guy that I ever had that went somewhere still wasn't working out. So why not?
Oh, no, listen, all men are trash. That's not the point.
So why not? But I don't think the points can't be taken off because of that. Because of an experiment.
I said I'm gonna let you keep your little stanky points, but my point is I want us to know what we know without having
that's the key thing.
Go through something to know.
That's the key. That's the key.
That's what I'm saying. And I think I almost look like I had a muscle right there.
Okay. Okay, Michelle Obama.
I said, wait a minute, Angela Bassett. Wait, Angela. I'm sorry, y'all. I got distracted.
Shut up. Shut up.
Oh, Angela Bassett was reaching over here towards me. Is that the light?
Yeah,
okay, but my
point is, you got a little shadow right here. You got a little shadow.
This is a contouring. Is it on this side?
No.
Listen, she ain't got no problem talking about me. My point is, I feel like that's a sign of growth for ourselves. And I think, especially in dating, and that's why I happily retired, because I have seen people have a great time dating. I've seen people have great experiences with men. I've seen people enjoy men's company. I've seen this. And I know it's a possibility. I know it's available. And I know it's a real thing. I have experienced it very few times in my 31 years of dating. If I had to say how many times, maybe twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And those didn't last, but maybe twice I could say, oh, I was always excited when this person called. Right. Everybody else, I was suffering through trying to figure out how to like them again. Right. And so I would call you and say, oh, he apologized. Let me, I got to keep talking to him, or, okay, talk me off. And I would always, and so I can look back at myself. So the points I'm taking off, I want to take off from you, are points I take off from myself from last year of, you didn't never even want to do that. So why did you take time to go through that thing that you knew you didn't want to do? That's what I'm saying. You keep your little points. Bless you.
Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry.
Bless you. You keep your little points. But that's what I'm saying, that I want us to be growing and self-aware enough to say, I don't like this. Don't make him wrong. Don't make me right. It just means I don't want that. I don't like this. And I think a man who doesn't travel and doesn't leave the house, not unique to you, is going to be an issue for any woman who does. Any woman who likes to leave the house. Any woman that travels. I think about the one I took to Cuba who had been married for 7 years previously, who didn't have a passport and had never been on a trip with a woman before. That was indicative of him. It didn't have to do with me, right? I was surprised when he told me that on the flight, but guess what? He wasn't no fun travel companion. Go figure. And I know that a lot of times we think, well, he just ain't never been with the one that's going to take him somewhere and show him the world. We pull out our Aladdin magic carpet and say, I can show you the world. And I'm saying,
roll it out.
You need to have your own carpet and we can ride next to each other. Because somebody, and I'm just saying, at our age, we're at an elevated height and big age.
And it does make a difference.
Who does not do things now is not doing those things.
Right. It does make a difference because we are all set in the ways that we are in.
All of us. Yes.
If we were 20, it'd be different.
It'd be totally different.
There's still some growing to do, but at our ripe old age.
Our big age. And again, we can still learn. And I learn something new from TikTok every day.
No, and that's well, shut up. But
that don't mean I do it. It's my point is, I see other ways of doing things. That don't mean I'm gonna do it.
I'm not saying we're stifled in our growth, in our exposure. We still want to be exposed to different things, but we are at a different level of that type of getting exposure than just just the basis.
And the last few guys you dated, I feel like they were nice guys. I feel like they were.
Well, I mean, that one was all right, but not this last.
The last two, I think. I feel like they were nice enough.
The last one was very nice. This other one, the other one before that, I mean, he was all right. He was
nice. I'm saying they were nice guys. I can't say anything bad per se for either guy. Now I can tell you moments where I thought they dropped the ball and I wanted to go fight them. But I don't think at their core they're bad. You know what I'm saying? We've dated bad.
No, they weren't bad.
So I thought they were nice guys. That don't mean you need to date them. Okay. I've learned that several different ways. Because they nice, don't mean you need to try to date them. Okay. Or even talk to them. But with that being said, both of those guys, the last two, were nice guys. You enjoyed them for how you enjoyed them, but both of them you were trying to bring along with you. Would that be fair?
I would say definitely with the last one, the one before that, I felt like he was in his own space and I was in my own space, and I felt like we were probably never going to actually meet somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? Like and it was definitely a waste of time. I will say that. In the end, it was just a waste of time.
Again, I don't even like to say stuff.
I know you don't like. You don't like that. You don't like that.
No, that sounds like the opposite of what I said about I'm taking points away because you knew that, and then when it was bad, so that was I don't think that was still wasting time. It's just
that was the year before, but yeah.
So y'all, I'm only saying all this about her dudes because there's a new one. There's a new one on the Ponderosa for your girl, not your girl, your other girl. And so I would love to hear a little bit about, you have a new skewer on the Barbie.
I do.
Shrimp on the skewer. A new shrimp on the kebab, if you will.
If you will.
And why don't you catch us up on, if you catch us up on how we got here today, where before you tell us anything, would you say you're smitten with someone?
I would say I'm a little smitten.
Okay, get us there. Get us to smitten.
So, okay. So, I know we said a couple of weeks ago, we done with dating apps, blah, 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 which I was kind of a little bit. But when I go out of town, y'all know I travel a lot. So when I go out of town, every once in a while, I'll pull it up. And every once in a while, I'll swipe. So I happen to be out of town working not this past weekend, about a month ago. And I was swiping and matched with a guy. I was on Bumble. Matched with a guy that lives 3 hours away. So, but we didn't start communicating until I got all the way back home. Anyway, that first day when we matched, it was a very short conversation, but the energy was good. So we ended up, he gave me his number and I called him and we talked off and on a couple hours throughout that day. Did I freeze?
I did. Matt, you both of us froze for a second. So you said y'all was 3 hours. He lives 3 hours away. The
Yeah,
last thing I heard.
yeah. And so but anyway, we matched and then we started talking on the phone like the same day we matched after we chatted. When we chatted, the energy was so good. You know how you just sometimes can just feel a good vibe. We didn't talk about anything specific. I even went back and looked at the chat. It was nothing, but it was a good energy. And so we exchanged numbers and we talked off and on. That was probably the most we've ever talked on the phone that day, the first day. And just like kind of casual. I wouldn't hear from him, or he wouldn't hear from me. And every once in a while he'll hit me up, blah, blah, blah. So we've only seen each other twice in the month that we've known each other. And both were good visits. And I like him. He's not my type physically.
But you are attracted to him.
I am attracted to him. I am, I am physically attracted to him. So that's not an issue. But some of the things that he said, like even just the other day, we were talking about men and women, and he has 2 daughters. So he kind of understands, that dynamic in a different way, or he accepts it in a different way. But just talking about the differences between men and women, he's alluded before to the fact that we had a conversation about, it might've been about the podcast. I can't remember, but it was about something about how men are such gotcha people right now on the internet, and how they have so much to say and so angry about women who are independent and are not choosing them. And he said, well, women are that way. They are not choosing men like that. They are found in their own way. He said, but it's because of men and their actions that put women in that position. And I thought, unprovoked and I didn't offer him my opinion about that, or I hadn't had the time to. And I was like, that was a good thing, he said, so he just kind of, he kind of has that idea about men and being trash. That's really.
And you know what? And that's the thing. That's all we want people to say is, yes, there's a problem. I'm George. I'd like to get to know you. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
So once we establish that, which was very early in our conversation,
right? We just need to establish there's an issue, right?
Right.
You're right.
Then I can take you as your genuine self, and I can present my genuine self, and we can try to see if we can.
Exactly. It's men who will argue and fight and defend all this bad behavior is weird. It's like, how can I even take you seriously as a person if you acting like that's not happening right now? We had a dude just today on our podcast, commenting on Instagram about, oh, men go to therapy and women don't. It's like, I can't even take you seriously.
When you say stuff that's so far from the truth.
Men want healthy relationships, but they're the only ones doing the work and going to therapy, and women aren't.
Y'all, that ain't even, I can't.
I kind of got excited. I said, an alien has landed on Earth and has found our Instagram, and I'm communicating with my very first alien. It was very third rock of the sun of him. But with this new person, what I have deemed or gleaned from a distance is we're a big age. And a lot of times, I tell you, look, you damn near 40. And what's funny, the reason why I say that
a million times last weekend, when we were together.
I did say it because what I realized is a huge deficit on both our parts. I'm glad that I don't feel like I'm at any risk in it, but she's in the fight, so I'm gonna make fun of her about it. Okay, I'm out, so I'm safe. We always talk about this. We ain't got them kind of reps. So I believe in this very short amount of time, based on how this guy has lived his life free and independent of her without even knowing she existed, he has been living as an adult male,
right?
Doing adult male things, right. Not immature, not childish. Not, he's had to grow up for a lot of different situations in his life.
He was married for a very long time. He has a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old. So that's how long he was married, if not longer than that. And then his wife passed away. So he's a widower. So that's what he knows.
But that's a huge responsibility.
Right.
And for him to put himself back out there for life or whatever. So for me, not knowing anything about him, I would say, oh, this is a grown-up man. He's had to raise two little girls that had to deal with the grief for himself, the grief of his daughters, starting over, picking up the pieces, all those things, right? And so I feel like if he's smitten with you, he ain't gonna be as I like to say, pussyfooting around.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's when it's gonna come to. That's why I'm looking at her, y'all, because I'm saying, hey, girl, he sounds like a grown up. He's a little bit older than her. He
Mhm.
sounds like a grown up. Now, what you gonna do when he come trying to do grown up teens? And so, you know what she says?
Right.
Oh no. And I said, well, you're damn near 40. You're gonna have to figure it out. And I think that's our greatest deficit is we don't have the reps, right? And so
Right.
we've been very comfortable in liking dudes, kikiing with dudes, but there's also a safety net of this is a dude. He will leave soon.
He's gonna go. He's gonna go.
There will be nothing to see here. I can go all in because he's gonna be all the way out. Okay.
Mhm.
And when a man shows up and he seems like he about his business and not saying he's like, oh, I want to be with you forever. It's just he
Right.
about his business free and independent of her. He making moves in his life, how he wants to move in the world. But even in relation to her, to you, he said he gonna do something, he gonna do that.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that's new information for us.
It
So
is.
I'm saying you gonna get your head right. Because if he gonna be making decisions and saying he gonna do something, I'm looking at you like, bitch, what you gonna do? And like I said, I'm glad that I'm not at any risk of having to be a grown up.
So she's sitting on the bed like this with her feet back. Just
Girl, what you gonna do if he try to like you for real? What you gonna do? And then, as immature as I am, I say to her, you damn near 40. Get it together.
she done threw that.
I make fun of her for kikiing and laughing on the phone and giggling and leaving a group of girlfriends. I'm immature. I make fun of, and then I look at her and I say, you damn near 40, grow up.
In the same breath.
What you gonna do? I know, is you in there talking soft? What did you in there doing? When we all in here talking to each other, did you slip off? I'm gonna talk about her bad. I can't believe you like a boy. Oh my God, you like a boy like that? And I'll say, put your big girl panties on, grow up. So guys, when we take this little break from you, obviously this story will be ongoing.
Yeah.
Who
We
knows?
might pop in. We might pop in.
We might pop in for Patreon, but
Patreon.
imagine
Yeah.
Patreon, we always pop in for y'all.
Right.
We all gonna pop in for y'all for sure. But imagine by the time we come back to our general episodes on St. Valentine's Day, our anniversary, y'all, if this girl try to put me down for our
I
anniversary
ain't putting you down. What you talking about?
because she's with a man,
Oh God.
I'd like to see you. I'd like to see you try it. That's our day.
That will not.
I'm happy for you, friend. If I know for a fact you deserve a man who makes you smitten, makes you giggly, makes you sneak off, knowing you gonna hear my mouth. I appreciate that in a man. And so,
And you talked to him briefly. You talked to him.
I talked to him briefly on FaceTime. He's a human. He seems like a real person. Y'all know I don't even like men. And I'm endorsing and encouraging her not to mess this up.
Right.
Y'all know how I only like men. So that's a testament to how I feel like he's managed her so far. And how so I'm saying as big sister, I'm excited. I'm encouraged. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. But just don't mess this up because you damn near 40.
Mm-hmm. That's what she
No
said.
pressure.
That's what she said.
We'll let y'all know. We'll check in with y'all in a couple of weeks, see if we even still talking about this dude. All right. Patreon, we love y'all. We hope you had an amazing year. Give yourself a grade in the comments. You know what I'm saying? And 2023 ain't ready for us. We gonna do this.
We're ready.